You know, in the 18 years I've been here at AARP Movies for Grownups, I've had a lot of offices. Some had windows, some were glorified broom closets, and then there's this one, which is my last office, as it turns out. And it's a windowless office in the middle of the building, but you know, it turned out to be my favorite because I had 4 walls to hang stuff on, bookshelves to put my favorite things on, and it became a little home away from home for me. I'll show you around. This is my awards wall with all my major honors. This is from when I was in college. Won the New Jersey Press Association Award. At National Geographic, I was awarded the Award of Excellence by the Aviation Space Writers Association. And here is my Lowell Thomas Award. This is probably my best one. You see this picture of Lowell Thomas over there, although I always thought he looked a little bit like Saddam Hussein. Here's my photo wall. These are all pictures that I've taken on my travels around the world. Very few people come in here and actually realize I took these pictures. They think I paid for them, and I guess I did in a way. Once our editor Hugh Delahanty decided to have us all give gifts to each other, Eric Seidman, the artistic director, gave me this museum quality model of the Wright brothers plane. I felt pretty bad because I think I gave someone like a beanbag or something. It's a little bit of AARP history here. There's a replica of the cover we did a story about the plot to Murder, She Wrote. And that's Angela Lansbury pictured under a giant block. This is from the 50th anniversary of Disneyland. A great day, one of the best days of my life. I enjoyed it. This is a piece of swag from early on when I was working as a newspaperman in LA, the city of Long Beach, honoring Neil Simon. That is from the National Road, from a replica of the milepost at Cumberland, a story for the National Geographic. On that same story about the National Road, I spoke to a lot of corn farmers out in the Midwest, and one of them sent me this glove, which is a Cornhusker's glove. The reason it's called that is because it has a second thumb on it. So when you wear out the glove on this side, you can flip it over and start using it on the other side. This is the worst rendering ever of The Simpsons. Picked this up in Budapest on a trip. That is obviously a terrible Bart Simpson on the outside, but it gets even worse. Here's Homer. He has no nose. And then you get to Marge, who barely looks human. Paul Williams signed this for me. This is the VHS of Ishtar, arguably one of the worst films ever made, but he wrote the songs for it, and as you can see, and he wrote on it, Bill, you have great if strange taste. Paul Williams. This is from my in-laws, actually, who were in the 1970s, went to the Far East and bought this fake Rolex for me, which I have always left on my desk in the hope that someone would steal it, thinking they were stealing a diamond-studded Rolex, but in 40 years in the business, that has never happened, which is just too bad. This is a Ben Stein bobblehead. This is from the National Enquirer. This was for one of the writers won this award. It's called the Mighty Might Award for health writing. He didn't want it, and I kept it, and has been on my desk ever since. Stuffed animals. These have been on my couch. This couch has been with me since my first office at AARP. It has traveled with me among my many offices. That Kermit was on my desk at the National Enquirer. That bear was given to me by my colleagues at the Geographic when I was promoted to expeditions editor. Of course, this is Jar Jar Binks from the Star Wars movie. I talked my son Zach into buying this with some of his toy money once. It ended up in my possession. He talks. Let's see what he says.
Me called Jar Jar Binks.
This shelf contains lots of memories. He says these are back copies of the National Enquirer here. Let's see what predictions we have from 1984 for the Enquirer. Mr. T will be hit by lightning. I don't think it happened. Ryan O'Neal will be knocked out in a New York bar after he gets in a fight with a hairdresser who's also a martial arts expert. Wow, that's a very specific prediction. I wonder if that one happened. I don't know. Might have gotten that one wrong. Here's this lizard down here. He's been here for years. I don't know, A, where he came from, and B, if he's real or not. This is my signed movie poster wall, and this is a rotating exhibition because I have several in the drawers that I can't keep on the wall all at the same time. There's Oliver Stone, Bryan Cranston signed Trumbo, Pacino signed The Humbling. In fact, he signed it twice because once was too dark. He signed it at too dark an area. Eddie Redmayne, Theory of Everything. This may be my proudest one. This is to Bill from Mel Brooks after I interviewed him for The Bulletin. J.K. Simmons and Mel Gibson over here for Hacksaw Ridge. This one's not bad. There's Robert Redford and Nick Nolte and Mary Steenburgen. Of course, there are lots of pictures around my desk of my wife Carolyn, and the good news is I get to see her in the flesh a lot more from now on. There's Al Pacino saying hello to my little friend. Here's my inspiration. Sally Field's signature. Here's the family. Ooh. Nice. Look at that handsome-looking group. This is interesting. This is a drawing that was done back in 1979. I interviewed the author, Stephen Longstreet, who was also an artist who actually has some portraits in the collection of the National Portrait Gallery right next door to here. And he did this picture of me after our interview of Billie Holiday. He was a friend of Billie Holiday. They knew each other back in their days in Paris together. My son-in-law, Chris Himes, gave this to me years and years ago, and I honestly don't know if it still works, because I think it feels like there are batteries in it. Let's see. Still works. Thank you, Chris. I just let it blow through my hair. This is a hat from the folks who made Absolutely Fabulous, the movie, and in the middle of the presidential campaign, they sent me this hat that says, "Make America Fabulous Again." I love it. I love the joke, but I can't wear that hat. Here's a picture from National Geographic. This is the entire staff. I'm looking for myself. There I am. There's Bill. There's my record collection over there, my 33 RPMs that I play here in the office occasionally. And everyone loves hearing that music coming from my office, believe me. But a few of them I will not let go of. Here's, once we had Shirley Jones here in the studio for the radio show, and she signed this copy of Carousel. It says, "To Bill, love, Shirley Jones." Don McLean was in once, and he signed this copy of his first album for me, which actually is my favorite Don McLean album, and he was pleased that this was my favorite. So he signed. But even better, I think, here's American Pie, which I did not ask him to sign, but he said, "Let me have the inner sleeve." Because we had talked about, on the inside of the album, there was this poem that he wrote about Hopalong Cassidy. And I had mentioned it in our interview, and he wanted to sign the inner sleeve for me. A couple things from my National Geographic days. Here's John Glenn in an action kit from Hot Wheels. That's my pass to the launch of his space shuttle mission. I wrote about his mission in National Geographic and actually got to train with him for a day down in Houston. And here is a photograph of a nebula that I named, actually. It was called, has a name number to it, but I wrote an article about it in a piece about the Hubble telescope, and I called it the Eye of God Nebula for obvious reasons. And if you go onto the web and look up Eye of God Nebula, you'll see this picture, and occasionally you'll see it attributed to National Geographic. Not my name, but I'm the guy who did it. Here's Mac Tonight. Almost forgot this, and how could I forget it? Back in the days when I used to hold a lot of meetings in my office on the magazine, I had been sent this thingamajiggy by some toy company, and we used to do this just to make our meetings more interesting. Behold. And here's my Gracie Award that I won for the Movies for Grownups radio show. The year after me it was won by Oprah, and the year before me it was won by Oprah, so I'm the one who broke up Oprah's streak. Right next to it are several incarnations of the Movies for Grownups trophy, which I designed, the original, this one here. As you can see, it's a Barca lounger.
This is real.
I didn't even know.
It's a golden Barca lounger. And it was a big damn deal, and I use it to hold my meds. So,
On the back of my door is this photograph. It goes back to 2001. These are the people who were on the team that relaunched AARP, the magazine, from modern maturity. Only 2 people remain of this group. That's me and Gabby Redford. I never took my offices for granted, and in a way I'm glad I won't be around in a few months from now when they'll take everyone's offices away from them here and move them into cubicles. Well, everyone except for the bosses, of course. And for nearly 30 years, I never took for granted working in Washington, D.C., one of the world's most beautiful cities. But I guess sooner or later, everyone has to move along, whether they feel like they're ready to or not.